Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Long Beach. My name is Reverend Lissa, and I am so glad to see you this morning. Welcome in. Welcome to our visitors and our newcomers today. This is a wonderful service to join. If you are coming from the community, we're so glad to have you here. We're so glad to welcome everyone who is joining us online. We've got our YouTube and our Zoom services going as well. So if you're joining us, we welcome you. And there will also be a Zoom coffee hour after the service. Welcome outside. We're so glad to have you. And of course, you feel free to get up and move around during the service if you'd like, whatever is feeling comfortable for you. We have children and youth here as well, so there's going to be a lot of energy in this service. So we just invite you to feel free to just move throughout our spaces today and enjoy that. So after the service, if you're watching us online, you can feel free to join the Zoom coffee hour where you can join with others in the congregation. And for those of us on site, please do join us for coffee hour on the patio. It's a very special coffee hour that we'll be having Mexican hot chocolate and pan de muerto and a great community celebration. There's a beautiful memorial wall dedication that you'll hear a little bit more about, and that will be just on your left over here. And please do stop by and see the beautiful wall and do some reminiscing with our community. This morning, the Rainbow Room is open for children and toddlers. Infants and toddlers. If your little ones would like to go and spend the morning with Chris and play a little bit. The lounge is also open for families, and the movie Coco is showing. So if families would like to go over there and do some activities, one of the other spaces that you can move through today. One announcement that Starting Point is held at 11:30, so if you are new to the congregation or interested in exploring a little bit more about membership, 11:30 in the lounge, there will be a Starting Point workshop. And our new member service is coming up on November 17th. So if you're feeling like this is your time, we welcome you to come and join us. Okay, let's take a minute and greet one another. You can get up and move around, just offer a wave. Let's say hello. You can just sit in the front here. Is Freya here? We'll give her some butterfly wings. Okay. Welcome in, everyone. We're going to have just a few brief announcements.
Good morning, my name is Peeben. The Fall Auction Boutique is around the corner, Sunday, November 17th and November 24th on Sunday after church. If you still have, no, I don't think we're collecting anymore. We're still collecting today. So come by if you have something to donate.
All right. Well, just before we get started with our service, I just wanted to say a thank you. The election is upon us. Deep breaths, everyone. We are so glad to be together in this day as we are approaching a very historic election. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been involved this year. I want to just raise your hand if you have knocked on a door, made a phone call, sent a postcard, had a hard conversation, had an easy conversation, did some educating of yourself and others. It is truly a collective effort to center in the future that we wish to see. And I want to share this quote just to ground us. And just to say that whatever happens in the coming week, that we will be here for each other, doing the same work of caring for each other in community, of grounding in our values, fighting for justice, and creating community. So let us take a deep breath together as I share these inspiring words from the Reverend Senator Raphael Warnock. He says, as a person of faith, I believe that democracy is the political enactment of a spiritual idea, the sacred worth of all human beings, the notion that we all have a spark of the divine within us and a right to participate in the shaping of our democracy and our destiny. A vote is a kind of prayer for the world we would desire for ourselves and for our children. And our prayers are stronger when we pray together. With these words, let us prayerfully begin our service of remembrance. And I want to invite to our chancel, Peeben Nee, to begin our introduction. And just a note, as we are beginning, you may have filled out one of these beautiful remembrance cards that you can place on the altar when it is that invitation. You can also bring forward those photos when we'll have our invitation to the ofrenda as well. And everyone will have a chance to say the names of their loved ones they're remembering today.
This time of the year is sacred in many traditions. Dia de los Muertos, All Saints' Day, All Souls' Day. These are the festivals of remembrance, the holidays when we are reminded that the living and the dead are bound together beyond the constraints of this world. As these many traditions honor the holy time of the ancestors, we hold in memory those people who close to us who have shaped our lives with their love. With gratitude, we carry forward their legacy. We also lift up the legacy of UUCLB elder Eduarda Diaz Schwartzbach, who founded the Dia de los Muertos over here at UUCLB over 15 years ago, and lovingly created this unique liturgy that we draw upon today. This celebration was one of the many vibrant lay ministries Eduarda nurtured, and with the Latinx members of our congregation, including Spanish-speaking small group ministries. Eduarda collaborated with artist Ramon Rodriguez to create unique pieces for each year's liturgy, including the doors we see on the altar today. While Eduarda is homebound and no longer able to be physically present with us, we are so grateful to have recorded her telling the beloved Ghost Wings story. Through this video, we will watch it together later. We will always be able to hear her speak to us and to feel her spirit gently dwell among us. Thank you, Eduarda, for the blessing of your ministry, which we will carry forward in your memory always.
Good morning. My name is Pauline McMahon. And now is the time for the lighting of the memorial candle. We light our memorial candle in memory and recognition of members and friends from this congregation who have died this year and who have left us their love, their trust, their wisdom, and their freedom. We remember Barbara Atlas, Weldon Fizel. May this light we now kindle bind us to the cloud of witness of which Barbara and Weldon are now a part, burning brightly in their memory as a beacon of love, beauty, and justice to guide our way. We light this memorial candle that we may continue their work in action and in service.
Good morning. As Thomas Campbell says, to live in hearts we live behind. is not to die. We will now light our chalice for the day. May the lighting of this flame renew us, our endless search for all that is right and true, our abiding love of life, and our unending dedication to follow the paths of peace and justice.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join as we sing hymn 1002 in our teal hymnal, Comfort Me. We are going to sing verses 1 through 3. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me. Sing with me. Sing with me. Sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me. Sing with me. Sing with me, oh my soul. Speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me, oh my soul. Speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me, oh my soul.
I'm like, I'm going first? Oh, no. Good morning. My name is Marty Harris, and I've been a member of this congregation since 2017. And first off, I want to thank Lissa for asking me to speak and having some very deep, deep trust in me, because I told her I would get her a copy of what I was going to say yesterday, and I wrote it this morning. So I knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't have it in words yet, and not written down. So there's a lot of trust there, letting me just come up here and without editing me. I want to say first, I love Dia de los Muertos. So I love this time of the year, the fall season, the changing, the colors, what it means. You know, the veil is thin. You know, we get to honor our past loved ones. I love the makeup, the beautiful dresses, the parades, all the celebration of that connection and that life. I even had a Dia de los Muertos decorated wedding, so everything was Dia de los Muertos. And I was able to use our beautiful ofrenda to add all the pictures of the people, and there were actually quite a few who had passed who were supposed to attend our wedding. And so we were able to place those pictures there and honor them, and they were able to join us at the wedding. So, I mean, let's see. So when Reverend Lissa reached out to me and asked me to speak about my family's Dia de los Muertos traditions as a Hispanic person, I was hesitant. So actually, more than that, I wanted to give her a hard pass. And I went on to explain to her why. My maiden name is Salazar, and my father is Mexican and Catholic. but I am probably the worst Mexican there is. So I actually like to refer to myself as a Mexicant. See, I was raised in a primarily, my mother raised me, and I was raised in a primarily Jewish household. In my house, we had a menorah and a Hanukkah bush. Now, the only reason we had the Hanukkah bush is because we were so jealous of our Christian neighbor's Christmas tree. So we browbeated my mother until she got us a Hanukkah bush. So we had presents under it that we opened on Christmas Day, and we would get small trinkets on the 8 days of Hanukkah from my grandparents. I had very little education on why we did what we did. It just wasn't a part of our dynamic. I wasn't taught well. So my father did have his influence on me, and I went to church faithfully on Easter and Christmas. So I knew that you did the Mexican hat dance at school on Cinco de Mayo, and that Taco Bell was Mexican food. So really, how do I speak about such a deep-rooted tradition? I mean, it felt like cultural appropriation, and I'm Mexican. It's just, I just wasn't, I just wasn't raised like that. As an adult, though, I was able to, and I wanted to seek out what these rituals and traditions meant to me. And in my adulthood, I developed my own belief system. I found my own religion. I found my own path. And in that, I had to search and find what those beliefs and what those things meant to me, and what I want to pass down to my daughter, and what I want to celebrate with my family. So isn't that what tradition is? I mean, that is just what tradition is. It's developing those beliefs, and sometimes those beliefs come from your family, and sometimes those are ones that you develop yourself and that grow and just become a part of. So over the years, my family has developed traditions. This year we do not have, I just want to, full disclosure, we don't have an Ofrenda this year because we have a kitten. And I just did not need that kitten she's already knocking over everything. But over the years, my family has developed its traditions of its own. Like buying matching pajamas every year and going to take Yule pictures with Santa. So it's forced holiday fun by me. It's like opening our doors every Thanksgiving and welcoming anybody who doesn't have a place to be, to sit at our table and eat with us. It's like going to visit all of our extended family that we don't get to see very much, to just exchange a meal and maybe a present or two. And that's a freedom and a gift, that we're able to embrace those traditions and make them our own. And sometimes those traditions, like the Hanukkah bush, have been left behind. And that's okay too. I kept the menorah, but the Hanukkah bush, no, it's okay. We have a Yule tree now. But that's a freedom and a gift. So we can cherish what we have and we can make new. So this year I will be enjoying that old and the new here with you, my chosen community. So thank you for allowing me to share that, and blessed be.
Hi, everybody. My name is Juan Vasquez, and I'm really glad Marty went first. I wasn't sure what I was going to say. It was going to be my grandma who was going to speak, and then she's older and tired, and then she had a big birthday yesterday, 84 years old. And then last night my wife was like, "Hey, can you share?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I'm terrible at this." We didn't grow up with Dia de los Muertos, right? Growing up, it was never. I didn't hear about it first until I was like 14 in high school, and my sister was making an ofrenda at the school as a senior project, and the school I went to was primarily Asian and Indian. My first foreign language I started speaking was Tagalog, because my friends were Filipino. Didn't want to speak Spanish. My parents would talk to me in Spanish. I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying, so I guess I can't clean my room. And I know, my kids are in the back. They're going to start that with me eventually, right? And it didn't really come up until I started working in the funeral industry, right? I managed a cemetery, started in 2014. And it was a small cemetery over in Redondo Beach. So primarily a white area, but a lot of Hispanics were coming for burials. And We allowed different times where we would put out, the families could put out decorations. We're not going to mow. We're not going to throw it away. But I remember families getting really upset because Dia de los Muertos was on a Sunday, and Wednesday we came to work and started throwing everything away. And it was just, hey, this is just the schedule. No one thought about it. Looking back, it's a little interesting, right? Everyone on the grounds crew, for the most part, was Hispanic. Everyone inside the office was mostly Hispanic. I was the whitest one that didn't celebrate anything. And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. This is every year. And I was like, oh, okay. And I had to talk to the owner. It's like, hey, can we extend the mowing schedule so people can put stuff up for their loved ones? Because we were throwing away photos of grandparents, of kids, of all this other stuff, right? And I'm in the office. I don't see it. I don't think about it. And a lot of families really express gratitude. And it got me thinking a little bit of like, oh yeah, I know I work in a cemetery. It could be transactional. But I forget that these are people with stories. And then as I started having kids, I started thinking back of my family's stories. And when I grew up, I had my parents. I had 5 grandparents because one of them remarried. And I had, at least in the States, a great-grandparent. And my kids growing up, they had, my oldest, Thais, she had, her parents. My wife's family's in Brazil, and it's a small family, but I have a large family. And she had her grandparents here and her 3 great-grandparents. And then when Valencia was born, we were down to 2 great-grandparents. And when Tiago was born, he's got 1 great-grandparent, and she was going to be the one who's going to speak. And it just got me thinking of like the lost memories, the lost stories that happen along the way. And in times like this, where there is like political tension, Dia de los Muertos helps me connect with those stories that, like, it's hard for me to connect with the photos, right? It just reminds me of work sometimes, like seeing photos of people. But the stories help me. So my dad's parents were from Mexico. They came during World War II, and they dropped everything cultural. They don't celebrate any Mexican holidays. They kept the language because that's all my grandma could speak at the time. My grandfather learned English, used that unless he needed to use Spanish. They never went back for decades until they were too old really to travel. So we didn't grow up with any of the holidays, any of the festivals. My mom's side, she was born here. Her parents were born here. More than half her grandparents are born here, all from Paramount. So we refer to them as the white side of the family. I didn't know they spoke Spanish, so I was like 30 when it was like, oh, they started speaking Spanish. And but during that time, and what I try to pass on to my kids, especially around this holiday, is what they went through during those times. So, my grandfather, who's on my dad's side, super dark skin, looks like he kind of just crossed, right? Still has an accent. He would tell me stories of when he would hide in Catholic churches during Operation Wetback, when they were just kind of putting Hispanics on trains and shipping them off. My grandmother, we were at the cemetery talking about, hey, where's your family at? Where's everyone at? She's like, oh, I can't go see them. The cemetery it was part of a larger cemetery, but it was known as the Mexican cemetery. And that got paved over. They took the headstones off. They turned it into a park. And it's still a park. It's in a part of a big cemetery. So you can probably guess where it's at. And she's like, yeah, that just happened when I was like 15, 16. And we never kind of figured out who's where. My grandma, who was going to speak, had her house raided or investigated by the FBI. She was part of the Chavez movement for workers' rights and civil rights and stuff like that. And I realized, having kids, is that these are stories that get lost along the way. Sometimes it just kind of boils down to a picture at the end or the little memories. But events like Dia de los Muertos helps us flesh out the stories of people's lives and what they went through. And for me, and what I want to pass on to my kids through traditions like this, is stuff kind of repeats and comes back, right? The whole Madison Square Garden rally, that's the same thing that happened in 39, right? All this stuff is not brand new. The wall is not new. All this stuff is not new. But we forget where people who have gone through it before and what they passed on and the strength that they can pass on through the storytelling. And Dia de los Muertos for me was kind of a more recent thing with having kids in the past 8 years. But it's something that I do hope that I can pass on to my kids. Like, hey, man, it's going to happen again when you're old and I'm not around. Times are going to get tough. But our family went through it. Other families have gone through it. And the stories give us strength when times do get dark, when times do get rough, or when it's like, dang, I thought this was over with, but 50 years later, here we are again, right, fighting for the same stuff. And so whatever holiday, whatever opportunity people have to celebrate, I do want to encourage families, like, it's not just about remembering those that we've lost, but what's been passed on to us through the generations, whether we see it or not, that got us to where we're at today, and hopefully brings our kids to where we want them to be in the future. But thank you for letting me share about this holiday.
Hello, everyone, and good morning. Before we begin with adding our pictures to the ofrenda, I wanted to say a couple words about our trunk or treat last week. We all had an amazing time, and I wanted to thank our wonderful volunteers and RE committee for all their hard work. It was my first ever trunk or treat here with the community, and it was such a great success thanks to all of their support. Last weekend, Last weekend on Sunday, our wonderful children and youth also created beautiful frames and flowers for today's service, all the paper flowers, with the help of Paloma, Laura, and Alexis, our RE volunteers. They made all these beautiful flowers. They also made and decorated some of the wood frames that you see before you to honor and remember their loved ones. When we asked them who they wanted to include on the ofrenda, they all had someone meaningful in mind, which I think is really special. Dia de los Muertos holds a special place in my heart as it also coincides with my grandmother's birthday on November 2nd. We celebrate the amazing life that she lived alongside the memories of all of our other loved ones who have passed, making it a day full of remembrance and gratitude for their time with us. Now I'd like to invite all the children and youth to come to the front and place their photos on the ofrenda, and if they already had, they can still come up and share the names of their loved ones in the photos if they would like.
Grandma Beverly. This is my tia Sandy and over here Nana Nympha. Over here is my great grandma Jenny.
Okay. So, did you want to say any more? Okay.
Also, the lounge is open. So, if needed, children or families can move over to the lounge during service today. We'll be playing Coco and having some fun crafts together if you would like to stop by. But just thank you for being here and sharing this special time with us.
So thank you so much, Amy, and to our children for sharing their names. Now we are going to be moving into our time of remembrance for the congregation. And so you might have brought a photo or an item or one of these beautiful cards to place on the ofrenda. And now you are invited to form a line to come down to share a name that you are lifting up and remembering today. And if you would like, also, I can, after the line goes through, I can come and visit you in your seat to share the name from there as well. And if you are joining us online, you can put your name in the chat and I will read it out. All right. And now Yeonjun's going to begin some musical accompaniment while we begin the sharing of names.
Hello. I recently found a picture of Alan Zimmerman, whose name unfortunately was left off the list. His tile is included on the wall, so it should have been on the list on the order of service. And the back of David Brown's head. And also a picture of Joyce Wheeler. And then probably a 40-year-old picture of my family, and it shocked me to see how many are gone now. There's only 4 of the people listed in here. So mother and father Joyce and Bob Penrose, mother and father-in-laws Muriel and Rich Goodwin, Uncle Phil and Aunt Sue, brother John, brother-in-law Bob, and cousin Bill.
Hi, I have a picture of my brother Nils and my father Christian, who both died in one calendar year. Yeah, and we were all sad to see them go. And here is and here are pictures of my former pets. This is my this was our solid black cat Clyde. And here are 2 of our former Springer Spaniels, the brown and white one Toby and the black and white one Gunner, licking the last crumbs in their bowl. And this was before my parents got their kitchen remodeled.
Okay, we have quite a few people who want to share, so let's just say the names very briefly and place the photos or the cards on the altar so that we can have everyone included.
My beautiful grandmother, Jaquetta DeVere Thurman, and my son didn't want to speak, but he has a picture of our puppy Brody, and he wrote on here his great-grandmother that passed away a few years ago, his Obachan, Rico Adams.
We're remembering Connie and Dick, as well as Lucille and Freeland. And we have pictures here of Alicia's mom, Marie, my mom, Barbara, and my dad, Chet.
Cece Mickey, she passed November 16th, 2023.
Sam and Sylvia Kushner. So much of what I am is because of them.
Samuel Wiggins Warner and my mother Vivian, 1899 and 1901.
My sister Barbara Palmer.
Thank you. I brought a picture of my dad Brian in England, but I wanted to remember a friend of ours who died just almost 3 weeks ago, Sean Cuddy.
Charles, my husband of 45 years, who died this year.
My mom and dad, Robert and Joan Lafferty.
We put a picture of my best friend's name on the beach to remember her. Her name's Erin.
My daughter, Kirsten Lawrenson, who has always been an inspiration to me in spite of her very short life. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Therese, and I'm here to honor my mother, Cecilia Sergi Ward. She was a member of this church from 1959 until 2017 when she died, and we all miss her very much.
my sister, Linda Diane Hamfeld, who only lived to age 30, and my son, Eric Fitzpatrick, who only lived to age 35. I miss him every day.
Hello, these are three of our closest friends who we had known since the 1990s. Wayne Bishop, Dick Padrick, and Zev Werman. They all passed within the past 2 years.
This is a picture of my mother, Maria Cristina Lanzo. She died in 2013. She raised me by herself. If I am an upstanding person, it's due to her and only her. She was a very good mother, and I copied everything she did right to raise my own children the same way. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
This is my lovely daughter, Carrie, who passed away 3 years ago on Christmas Eve at only 49 years old.
In memory of my father, Jerry, and my mother-in-law, Mary Beth, who's the most loving, special person I've ever known.
This is a memory of Jack, Helen, and Kathy Graham. And there's a short little poem I thought I'd read that we can all relate to. Those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day. Unseen, unheard, but always near. Still loved, still missed, and very dear.
For Mimi, for Uncle, for Pops, and for Dad, the best of memories, the best of times. Blessings. Thank you.
For my husband, Howard, who passed 4 years ago.
For my mom and dad, who died many years ago, and I miss them. For my baby Carl, who died when he was 13 days old, and for my brother Jerry, who died as an older adult.
For my mom, Mariela, who died in an accident, and for my uncle, Gonzalo, who was my second father.
Okay, I brought pictures of my mother's parents, my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, my paternal grandfather. I have a picture of my dad's parents. There's my grandfather and my grandmother. There's my great-grandfather. And these are two aunts. And my dad is inside my grandmother's tummy. And then I have my mom and dad and my brother. I have the reason I came to this church, my gay Uncle Larry. And then I have my Aunt Aurora and my Aunt Fernie, Uncle Fernie. Oh no, I forgot. I brought my brother-in-law. He's visiting today. This is his wife, Terry. She was my sister-in-law, my best friend.
My mother, Jeannie Marikas, who passed away about a year ago.
There she is. Our Wendy Drake passed away not too long ago. Very dear to me. Along with my mother and father and grandmother and great-grandmothers, they're all there too.
In honor of my grandmother Elma Wall, my mother Sylvia McDaniel, and my dad James Gray McDaniel, and my brother Jimmy McDaniel. And Pat McAllister honors his mom and his sister Donna.
This is my husband who died in 2010, and may his he was really a survivor, and I believe his spirit is still shining bright.
For all of the innocent animals worldwide who are unnamed, uncounted, unseen, who give their lives unwillingly every day for human consumption, human entertainment, and human usage.
Online, I have the names of Vanjie Hurst, Julie Larkins, Jack Hurst, Fernando Tejas, and grandmother-in-law Carolina Benham. And my mother shares William Perkins, my uncle, who died this year. You haven't.
I like dedicate to this Danielle. She was my best friend.
Thank you. Any other person who is sitting who'd like to share a name?
My brother Jim, who died about a year ago. He's very dear to me.
On behalf of my father-in-law and longtime member Larry Small.
My son Jeremy, who attended this church when he was a small child.
Remembering Nora Hamilton, my longtime research collaborator and friend for adventure.
My dad and my dog that passed away within a month of each other this year.
Yeah, thank you.
My brother Jerry, who passed away a couple of years ago.
There's an unframed photo there of a dashing gladiator, and that's Don Kroll when you see it.
So this is something I don't necessarily share too much, but my mother had 3 miscarriages before me. So thinking of all the folks who have had pregnancy loss today.
Mary Lou Reed Quinn, Muriel Goodwin, Barbara Reinhardt.
My mom, Donna Whalen, whose picture's up there with her Women for Obama sign. How I wish she was here right now to talk, and I get my feistiness from her.
Just some names that have been going through my head recently. Sarah James, Bob Schofield, and Conrad Housley.
We offer these words of prayer by Judith Anderson. Remember us, you who are living. Restore us, renew us, Speak of our silence. Continue our work. Bless the breath of life. Sing of the hidden patterns. Weave the web of peace. That's by Judith Anderson.
Monarch butterflies play a role in Dia de los Muertos because they are believed to hold the spirits of the departed. This belief stems from the fact that the first monarchs arrive in Mexico for the winter each fall on November 1st, which coincides with Dia de los Muertos. The symbolism of the butterfly has been celebrated in poetry and story. The Mexican poet and novelist Homero Arides is one of the Spanish-speaking world's foremost living writers and most influential Mexican environmental activists. His particular interest in monarch butterflies led him to spearhead the movement to preserve the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve, a butterfly sanctuary 60 miles outside Mexico City, where millions upon millions of monarchs congregate in the winter. His poem titled A una mariposa monarca, or To a Monarch Butterfly, is a short but powerful expression of the captivating allure of these colorful winged creatures. Let us listen together to the poem. The children are now invited to don their butterfly wings and follow the leader in a parade of butterflies as we prepare to listen to the story Ghost Wings.
I think all the kids are in the lounge, so we will listen together. We have one. Will you be the butterfly?
We'll pretend they're flying around with their beautiful wings. To a monarch butterfly, you who go through the day like a winged tiger, burning as you fly, tell me what supernatural life is painted on your wings, so that after this life I may see you in my darkness.
This morning, one more time, I get to share my favorite story with you. It's Ghost Wings. Some of you may have heard me read this before, written by Barbara Giselle. There is a place in the Mexican forest where the monarch butterflies go every year. In the autumn, millions arrive to rest in the Oyamel fir trees. They sip from nectaring plants and they fan their wings in the sun. In the spring, they begin their journey north. This place is called the Magic Circle. I remember the day the butterflies left. They were the color of the sun, setting on the mountains. They filled the trees with gold, so many that they made the boughs of the trees bend. When they flew away, Their wings rustled like skirts. That was the day my grandmother died. Grandmother was my best friend. We made tortillas together. We sang our favorite songs. Grandmother worked the dough on a big metate, pushing and mashing it till it didn't have any lumps. I had a little metate right next to hers. When the tortillas were ready, we cooked them side by side. At night, Mama tucked me into bed, but I heard monsters slither on the floor. They snapped their teeth and they hissed my name. I would pull the covers up to my chin, but still the monsters slithered and snapped. I cried out to Papa. He said, "You must be brave." I called to Mama. She said, "Nonsense, there are no monsters." But grandmother would lean her broom against my bed, and she would lay beside me, smelling of cornmeal and roses. "If the monsters dare to come," she said, "I'll chase them away with my broom." With grandmother next to me, no monsters snapped their teeth, and none of them hissed my name. In winter, grandmother and I loved to visit the magic circle. We sat on the forest floor, and we let the butterflies cover us with gold. We let them fan their wings on our shoulders and tickle our arms with their legs. On one spring, grandmother became thin as smoke. She didn't make tortillas anymore. She was too tired, she said. "It's almost time for the butterflies to leave. Come," she said to me, "go with me to the magic circle and say goodbye." It was a cloudy day, I remember, and the butterflies just hung to the trees. Their wings were closed, and they were still as stone. One butterfly lay on the forest floor. I picked him up, and I blew my warm breath on him. He shook his wings, and he flew away. "Close your eyes," grandmother said. "Do you still feel the butterfly?" I nodded. "Yes, my arm still tickles." That's because they carry the souls of the old ones, and the old ones never really leave. Then the sun came out. The butterflies rose in a whoosh, and they filled the sky with gold. In a few weeks, all the butterflies were gone. The magic circle was empty. That was the day my grandmother died. Papa took me to the magic circle, and we cried together. He said, "When you love someone, they never really leave." But the butterflies were gone. He said the butterflies would come back, that they always came back. But my arm didn't feel the tickle anymore. That night, the monsters crouched under my bed, and they hissed my name. I trembled in bed alone. I wanted grandmother. I leaned her broom against my bed, and I pressed my nose into her pillow. At first, I could smell the cornmeal and the roses, but after a while, even the smell was gone. There was no one between me and the monsters. The time of the roses passed, and it became time of the marigolds again. That was the season for Days of the Dead, the time to remember the old ones. At the market, we bought candles and pan de muertos with sugar tops, just like we have on our altar today. Mama chose a bag of oranges, and when I smelled them, they made my nose prickle. I bought a little skull made of chocolate and sugar. After lunch, Papa set up an ofrenda like we have here today. Mama put candles and oranges and Grandma's picture. I leaned her broom against the altar, and I spread the rose petals and the cornmeal on top. When the day was almost gone, the light became thin as smoke. Mama lifted the candles, and their flames shook the shadows from the room. Papa said, "I remember grandmother." Mama said, "I remember that she taught me how to cook." I tried to remember grandmother too, but she seemed so far away. All night the candles flickered on the ofrenda. I smelled roses and cornmeal when I went to sleep. In the morning, we walked to the cemetery. All the neighbors were there. We cleaned up the graves of the old ones. I spread flowers over Grandma's grave, and I ate my chocolate and sugar skull. The neighbors filled the cemetery with picnic baskets and flowers, and stories, music, and noise. One man sang grandmother's favorite songs. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. And there was a tiny flicker in the sky. It was a butterfly. Soon the tombs and crosses were covered with the flickering gold of the butterflies. One of the butterflies landed on my arm. It fanned the sun with its wings, and it tickled my arm with its legs. I said, "I remember that grandmother was brave. She chased monsters with her broom. I remember how she smelled like cornmeal and roses. She sang songs and made tortillas. When she took me to the magic circle, it was really full of magic." The butterfly shook its wings, and it flew away. I could close my eyes. I could still feel the tickle. In my head, I heard grandmother's songs. I smelled roses and cornmeal. Now I remember grandmother.
The offering we take each Sunday isn't just a habit. It's an opportunity to reconnect with this place, to these people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission. Thank you for your generous financial support of UUCLB and all you do to help our church survive and thrive. Our offering will now be gratefully received. Thank you.
Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there, I do not sleep.
Good morning. At this time of the year, when the veil between the two worlds thins, and it is the custom for some to visit with the ancestors, it has seemed appropriate that we honor and visit with the ancestors of UUCLB. So today, we dedicate our new memorial wall and share memories of the 31 members and friends whose names and dates have been engraved on tiles on the wall this year. Current members and friends reserved the tiles for these 31 people or connected us to their family members. This was a catch-up year, and there will likely be more catch-up next year. But eventually there will be just a few names added each year as members and friends pass. Going forward, during each Dia de los Muertos service, we will honor those whose names have been added to the wall in the intervening year. Another 17 of us have reserved tiles for ourselves for that faraway time when we pass. I invite others of you to reserve tiles for yourselves as a lasting reminder of your association with UUCLB. In her recent sermon on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, Rev. Lissa asked us to reflect on what our legacy might be. And as we participate in the vision and mission process this church year, it is a wonderful coincidence that we accomplish and dedicate the wall now. The 31 people whose names are on the wall have each, in their own time, left a legacy of participation and contribution to the vision and accomplishment of what UUCLB could be and in fact became, as had the folks who came before them and as each of us will now. They attended and contributed to worship services, pledged, served on committees, attended and voted during congregational meetings, taught Sunday school, educated and worked on social justice issues, and organized, set up, and cleaned up potlucks and other fellowship events. 9 of those 31 served as board president, including 3 members of my immediate family. Others served as church clerk or treasurer. Our annual Ethics Award was named for David Brown. Our Social Justice Award was named for Jack and Helen Graham. Doug Wade advocated for a memorial wall over 50 years ago. My father, Bob Penrose, dreamt that a sanctuary would be built, and 11 years after his death, my mother, Joyce Penrose, gave her blessing that the sanctuary fund that had been established in Bob's memory could be used instead for a memorial wall. I am deeply affected by the realization that I have known all 31 of the people who are remembered, and I am inspired by them. I would love to share memories of each of them in this service, but there isn't time for that. And I am glad that there are family members who have come today. And I invite you all, I encourage you all, I will bribe you all to come over to the memorial patio after the service. That's where the pan de muerto and tangerines are. And so, in addition to sharing the traditions of Dia de los Muertos with us, Eduarda shared the example of hospitality. As a friend of hers, I'm very glad to make it a traditional part of the tile dedication each year to serve Mexican hot chocolate, pan de muerto, and tangerines. Please make your way over to the patio after the service. I'll see you there.
Okay, so we are coming to the end of our service, and I want to invite everyone to actually take a stretch. And you can stand up if you'd like, reach up, and kind of imagine that you are bringing in all of those ancestors. that they are all surrounding us. Bring them in and hold them close. And then open your arms to see what they may be there to teach us, what may be there for us to receive, what wisdom, what power, what teaching, and what healing is our responsibility to carry forward their legacy. I want to invite you to join me in our closing blessing. It's a litany of remembrance. And we often share this at Celebrations of Life service. And it is a beautiful humanistic understanding of how we go on. Your part is simply this, to say together, we remember them. Let's try it. We remember them. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the opening of the buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are a part of us as we remember them.
In body or in spirit and join in singing hymn 1015, I Know I Can. Couple of things to note. We're going to sing all 5 verses. Verse 5, please make sure you look at the screens. We've modified the language a little bit to be a little bit more inclusive. And then as well, please, there at the end of each verse, there is a call and response moment. So the call is going to happen, and those of you who feel so called, please respond strongly, as strong as the call is provided. Okay? I know, I can go on. Okay?
Though days be dark with storms, and burdens weigh my heart, those troubles wait at every turn.
May the quality of our life be a benediction and a blessing to all whom we touch. We now extinguish the chalice and the memorial candle, but the warmth of the light goes with us into the world.
Hello, if you'd like to stay on with me and